Welcome, emphasis. You've come to a space between silence and mystery, a place older than memory, where names are written in shadows and stories are whispered in stars. Tonight, we travel far beyond the flood, before the law, before the prophets, to a world both ancient and unfamiliar, the world of Enoch. He was a man of no war, no miracles, no throne, and yet he never died. Scripture says he walked with God, and then he was no more. No chariot of fire, no grave, only the breath of God, and a vanishing. Tonight you will walk with him. You'll step quietly into the world before the flood, the world of watchers, wonders, and whispers. You'll feel the rhythm of his days. You'll hear the slow unfolding of divine presence, and you'll glimpse the mystery of what it means to walk so closely with heaven that the line between worlds disappears. Let yourself sink into the ancient stillness. Let the story unfold like smoke, and let Enoch walk beside you. Imagine a time before time felt measured, before kings, before cities, when the earth was young, and the sky still heavy with memory. The sun rises gently through thick morning mist. The trees are taller, the air is thick with moisture and birdsong. You are standing in the world of Enoch. It is a quiet world, but not empty. The soil is rich, the rivers run wide and slow. People live closer to the land. They rise with the sun and sleep beneath skies crowded with stars. Break time equals 2 south, greater than Enoch's home is simple. Stone pressed into earth, wood bound with vine. His hands are calloused, shaped by work and prayer. He is not a priest, not a king. He is a scribe, a seer, a walker. He tends animals in the morning, goats and birds. He gathers figs, draws water from ancient wells, and speaks little. His family respects his silence. They sense the nearness he carries, like a man who listens, even when no one is speaking. Break time equals 2 south, greater than Enoch writes in clay and on bark. Symbols passed down, visions recorded in lines and circles. He speaks of things the elders don't fully understand, of watchers, of hidden realms, of angels fallen and angels weeping. But he does not preach. He walks, each day into the hills, past the rivers, through the groves. Sometimes he's gone for hours, sometimes for days, and when he returns, his eyes hold something distant, like he's seen too much light. To speak plainly, biography, visions, wisdom, and disappearance. The days pass gently, seasons turned, though the people barely noticed. For the world was lush, and time flowed like honey, slow, golden, and unmeasured. But Enoch kept watch. He was not content to merely live. He longed to understand. And so he listened, not just to the wind or to the elders, but to the still voice that stirred beneath the silence. Break time equals 2 south, greater than 1 night. As the moon hung low and red, Enoch dreamed. He saw tall beings clothed in radiant robes, with faces too bright for language. They whispered truths he could not repeat. He saw the heavens unfold like scrolls, the stars moving with intention, the earth suspended extended in divine rhythm. He saw the watchers, angels who had descended to earth not to protect, but to possess. He saw their error, their longing, their fall, and he saw the children born from them, giants, powerful, lost. In his vision, Enoch was not afraid. He did not run. He did not hide. He asked questions. He wrote what he was shown, not for glory, not for followers, but because he knew wisdom unrecorded can vanish like mist. So he carved his visions into clay, etched his revelations onto bark and bone, and he passed them down, quietly, to his sons, to his daughters, to anyone willing to sit in silence long enough to hear. Break time equals 3 south, greater than the scriptures say. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. No death, no burial, no last words. He simply was gone. One morning, he walked into the hills as he always did, but he did not return. Some say he vanished in light. Others say he faded with the mist, but all agree he was taken, not in fear, but in favor. Break time equals 2 south, greater than he had walked so closely with the divine, so faithfully, so reverently, that heaven no longer waited. It opened, and he stepped in, like a man stepping from shadow into sunlight, from breath into spirit. His body, his bones, his thoughts, no longer bound by dust, just presence. Break time equals 2 south, greater than, and though his name appears only briefly in scripture, his silence echoes loud. He was not known for miracles, not for wars, not for ruling. Only this: he walked with God, and somehow, in a world growing louder, more corrupt, more divided, that was enough. Break time equals 3 south, greater than Enoch's life, teaches us that not all holiness is public, that not all revelation is shouted, but sometimes the most divine thing you can do is walk with intention and listen with your whole self, and one day, without fear, without fanfare, step through the veil. It is said he was shown the full history of the world from beginning to end, not just what was, but what will be. And when his writings were complete, he vanished, taken, body and spirit, into the higher places, not lost, but preserved. Break time equals 3 south, greater than the early church knew of this book. It was read, quoted, even referenced by the Apostle Jude, but over time it faded, omitted, forgotten by some, yet it remained in Ethiopian monasteries, in fragments beneath desert sands, and now it speaks again. Break time equals 2 south, greater than. But Enoch's mystery is not just in angels or visions. It's in his posture. He did not chase power. He did not fear the unknown. He walked steadily, quietly into revelation. He listened until heaven opened. And he reminds us that sacred things do not always wear crowns. Sometimes they wear humility, stillness, silence. Break time equals 3 south. So tonight, let your thoughts drift with the ancient wind. Let the hidden words of old scrolls rest gently in your mind. Not to stir fear, but wonder. Not to solve, but to sense. You are not far from mystery. It lives in the breath, in the pause, in the walk, just as it did with Enoch. The contrast between Enoch and his generation was not in what they knew, but in what they trusted. The world trusted power. Enoch trusted presence. They trusted what they could forge. He trusted what he could follow. They demanded signs. He received silence and honored it. Break time equals 3 south, greater than. And as the earth tilted further into corruption, he tilted deeper into grace. He did not run. He did not rage. He walked, and that was enough. So rare was his quiet righteousness, so deep his reverence that God did not let him taste death. He was not lost in the flood that would come. He was lifted before the waters ever rose. Break time equals 2 south, greater than. His story is not one of escape, but alignment. He did not flee judgment. He lived beyond it. And though generations forgot him, though his scrolls were sealed, his path remained. A path not paved with stone, but presence. A life not measured in victories, but in footsteps taken toward the divine. Break time equals 3 south, greater than. So now, as the world around you slows and the shadows lengthen, feel that same walk unfold within you. Not toward noise, not toward fear, but toward a presence that does not change. Let Enoch's quiet strength anchor your own. Let his stillness soften your breath. And let the truth settle in your spirit. In a world chasing more, you are allowed to walk less, to be still, to be slow, to be with God. The walk that never ended, and now you've walked beside a man who left no battle scars, but changed history through silence. You've stepped into a world before the flood, before noise, before law, before men tried to become gods. You've sat beside clay tablets etched with dreams. You've watched a figure disappear into light, not with fear, but with favor. Enoch, the one who was taken, the one who walked with God. Break time equals 2 south, greater than. No grand speeches, no currencies, just footsteps and faith. He lived in a world growing loud with corruption, and yet he listened. Not to kings, not to angels, but to the still, holy rhythm beneath it all. He did not rush. He did not run. He walked. And when the time came, he simply kept walking from dust to divine, from breath to beyond. Break time equals 2 south, greater than. And perhaps that is the invitation for you tonight. Not to conquer, not to control, but to walk, to slow your breath, to soften your heart, to take one step closer to presence. And maybe, just maybe, that presence is already with you, right here, in the stillness, in the quiet between thoughts. Break time equals 2 south, greater than. Let your body rest. Let the heaviness of sleep settle like warm linen. You do not need to prove. You do not need to perform. You only need to be. You are already walking the sacred path when you choose peace over panic, stillness over striving, love over noise. Break time equals 2 south, greater than. Sleep now, beloved one. Walk with the one who has always been walking with you. Let the dreams come. Let the mystery hold you. And know you are not alone. You are not lost. You are already seen. just as Enoch was.